The Galactic Council chamber erupted in raucous laughter as holographic images of General Voller and his human bride, Sarah Williams, flickered to life. Alien delegates from across the galaxy pointed and sneered at the newlyweds, their derision echoing through the vast hall. Council President Zix Nara, a towering figure with iridescent scales, raised all four of her arms to silence the crowd. "Order! We will have order in this chamber." Her voice boomed, cutting through the cacophony. As the noise subsided, she continued, "We are here to address the union between Wadi General Voller and the human female, Sarah Williams. This questionable decision has potential ramifications for interstellar relations." The chamber's atmosphere grew tense as Zixanara officially censured Voller for his choice of mate. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembled delegates, their eyes fixed on the holographic display of Sarah. By human standards, she was unremarkable, but to the alien council members, her features were downright repulsive. Aboard the United Earth Alliance flagship Horizon, John Williams, Sarah's brother and a respected human diplomat, received an urgent communication. His eyes widened as he read the message detailing the council's reaction. Recognizing the looming diplomatic crisis, John immediately requested an audience with the Galactic Council. He knew he had to act fast to defend his sister's honor and preserve humanity's standing in the galactic community. Meanwhile, on the Wadi homeworld, General Voller faced intense scrutiny from his military superiors. The once decorated officer now stood before a panel of stern-faced commanders, their disapproval palpable. "General Voller," the lead commander spoke, his voice cold and harsh, "your choice of mate has called into question your judgment and loyalty to our people. We are considering stripping you of your rank and command." Voller stood tall, his resolve unwavering despite the threat to his career. In another part of the Wadi capital, Sarah struggled to adapt to her new surroundings. The alien architecture and customs overwhelmed her senses, and the hostile glares from Voller's peers only added to her isolation. As these personal dramas unfolded, a larger crisis brewed. Reports of increased Wadi military activity near human-controlled space began to surface. The United Earth Alliance, alarmed by these developments, mobilized its fleet. Ships took up defensive positions along the border of Wadi territory, their weapons systems primed for potential conflict. John Williams, now tasked with preventing an interstellar war, pored over classified human research on cross-species attraction and reproductive compatibility. He believed this information could sway the Council's opinion and legitimize Voller and Sarah's union. As he prepared his case, John couldn't help but marvel at the far-reaching consequences of his sister's unconventional marriage. The stage was set for a complex interstellar drama. Cultural clashes, political maneuvering, and the unexpected power of love across species lines threatened to reshape the galactic landscape. As tensions mounted and fleets mobilized, the fate of human-Wadi relations hung in the balance, all because of one unlikely couple. As John Williams prepared his case for the Galactic Council, events on the Wadi homeworld took an unexpected turn. Zaralith, a brilliant Wadi scientist known for her groundbreaking work in xenobiology, found herself drawn into the controversy surrounding General Voller and Sarah Williams's marriage. Zaralith's laboratory buzzed with activity as she pored over data streams and holographic projections of human anatomy. Her large, luminescent eyes widened with fascination as she studied the intricate details of human reproductive systems. "Fascinating," she murmured, her slender fingers dancing across the control panel. "Their methods of procreation are so physical." As Zaralith delved deeper into her research, the United Earth Alliance diplomatic envoy arrived on the Wadi homeworld. Dr. Marcus Green, a seasoned xenobiologist, stepped off the shuttle and immediately felt the weight of hostile stares from the gathered Wadi officials. "Welcome to Wadi Prime, Dr. Green," a stern-faced Wadi diplomat greeted him. "We trust you understand the delicate nature of your visit." Dr. Green nodded, his expression neutral. "I assure you, we're here to foster understanding and cooperation between our species." As the envoy made their way through the capital city, they couldn't help but notice the tension in the air. Wadi citizens whispered and pointed at the humans, their expressions ranging from curiosity to outright disgust. Meanwhile, on Earth, the situation was rapidly spiraling out of control. News feeds were flooded with images of protests outside alien embassies. In New York, a crowd of angry humans gathered outside the Wadi consulate, their chants echoing through the streets. "Respect our ways! Respect our love!" they shouted, waving signs adorned with hearts and images of diverse alien species holding hands. The global outrage reached a fever pitch when leaked footage of Sarah and Voeller's wedding ceremony went viral. The video spread across social media platforms at lightning speed, sparking heated debates and polarizing opinions. Back on the Wadi homeworld, Zaralith's curiosity got the better of her. She sent a carefully worded request to meet with Sarah Williams. Sarah, feeling isolated and desperate for any friendly interaction, agreed despite her initial hesitation. The meeting took place in a secluded garden within the military compound where Sarah and Voeller resided. Zaralith arrived, her iridescent scales shimmering in the alien sunlight. Sarah stood as the Wadi scientist approached, trying to mask her nervousness. "Greetings, Sarah Williams," Zaralith said, her voice melodious yet filled with curiosity. "I appreciate you agreeing to meet with me." Sarah nodded, offering a small smile. "Thank you for your interest, Zaralith. It's been challenging to find anyone willing to speak with me." As their conversation progressed, Zaralith's questions became more direct, focusing on human mating practices. Sarah's cheeks flushed as she explained the basics of human intimacy. Zaralith's eyes widened in shock. "You mean to say that reproduction involves direct physical contact? The exchange of fluids?" Sarah nodded, feeling a mix of embarrassment and amusement at the Wadi's reaction. "Yes, that's correct. I take it that's not how Wadi reproduce?" Zaralith shook her head, her scales rippling with excitement. "No, not at all. Our process involves a complex energy transfer. This changes everything." As Zaralith's research findings began to circulate among the younger Wadi scientists, a ripple of excitement spread through the academic community. Late-night discussions in research labs and university halls buzzed with debate about the implications of human mating practices. Dr. Marcus Green, sensing an opportunity, approached Zaralith after a particularly heated academic symposium. "Dr. Zaralith, I couldn't help but overhear your fascinating insights. I have a proposal that might interest you." Zaralith turned, her scales shifting from a thoughtful blue to an intrigued green. "Dr. Green, I'm listening." As they discussed the possibility of a joint human-Wadi research initiative, neither was aware of the storm brewing in the upper echelons of Wadi military command. General Kaxnor, Voeller's longtime rival, paced in his opulent office, his scales a deep, angry red. "This human influence has gone too far," he growled to his assembled staff. "We must act now to preserve our way of life." Kaxnor's propaganda machine sprang into action, flooding Wadi media channels with images portraying humans as primitive and sexually deviant. Posters appeared across the capital, showing grotesque caricatures of humans engaged in various physical acts, with warnings about the dangers of interspecies relations. As tensions escalated on both Earth and the Wadi homeworld, John Williams arrived at the Galactic Council headquarters. He strode purposefully through the grand halls, his briefcase containing the classified research that he hoped would change the course of interstellar relations. Little did John know that the situation had already shifted dramatically. As he prepared to address the council, the complex interplay of scientific discovery, cultural misunderstanding, and political maneuvering threatened to reshape the galactic landscape in ways he could never have anticipated. The chamber doors opened, and John Williams stepped forward, ready to make his case to the assembled alien delegates. The fate of human-Wadi relations, and perhaps the future of interspecies understanding throughout the galaxy, hung in the balance. As John Williams stepped into the Galactic Council chamber, the air crackled with tension. He opened his mouth to begin his carefully prepared speech, but before he could utter a word, his communicator buzzed urgently. The message that flashed across its screen made his blood run cold. "Situation critical on Wadi Prime. Zaralith arrested. Dr. Green in hiding. Extraction team en route." John's mind raced. The landscape of his mission had shifted dramatically in mere moments. He glanced up at the expectant faces of the council members, their alien features a kaleidoscope of curiosity and disdain. With a deep breath, he set aside his prepared notes and began to speak. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, I come before you today not just as a diplomat, but as a harbinger of change. What I am about to share will challenge our understanding of interspecies relations and biology itself. Meanwhile, on the Wadi homeworld, Zaralith sat in a stark holding cell, her scales a dull gray of despair. The excitement of her recent discoveries had been replaced by fear and uncertainty. She replayed the moment of her arrest in her mind, the sudden intrusion of armed guards into her laboratory, the destruction of her research materials, and the look of triumph on General Caxanor's face as he personally oversaw her detainment. In another part of the city, Dr. Marcus Green huddled in a dimly lit basement, surrounded by a small group of young Wadi scientists. Their eyes gleamed with a mix of fear and excitement as Green shared his findings. The genetic marker we've identified, he explained, pointing to a holographic display of Wadi DNA, suggests a level of compatibility with human genetic material that we never thought possible. It could revolutionize our understanding of interspecies reproduction. One of the young Wadi, her scales shimmering with an eager blue hue, leaned forward. But what does this mean for us, for our society? Before Green could answer, the door to their hideout burst open. A breathless Wadi youth rushed in, his scales flashing warning colors. General Caxanor's forces are sweeping the city. They're arresting anyone suspected of collaborating with humans. As chaos erupted in the hideout, Commander Jack Harper and his extraction team approached the Wadi homeworld in a cloaked shuttle. Harper's face was grim as he addressed his team. Our mission is clear. Extract Dr. Green and Zaralith, along with any crucial scientific data. We're dealing with a volatile situation, so expect heavy resistance. The shuttle's sensors blared to life, detecting a massive deployment of Wadi ships forming a blockade around the planet. Looks like they were expecting us, Harper muttered, his hands dancing over the controls as he plotted a course through the Wadi defenses. Back in the council chamber, John Williams continued his impassioned speech. We stand at a crossroads. The discoveries made by Dr. Green and Zaralith have the potential to bridge the gap between our species in ways we never imagined possible. But instead of embracing this knowledge, there are those who seek to suppress it. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of alien voices, some expressing outrage, others curiosity. John pressed on, his voice rising above the din. Even now, a Wadi scientist is being persecuted for daring to challenge the status quo. Is this the future we want for our galactic community? One where scientific progress is stifled by fear and prejudice? On the Wadi homeworld, General Voller paced in his quarters, torn between duty and love. The sound of Sarah's voice broke through his turmoil. Volar, you have to do something, she pleaded, her eyes wide with concern. They're arresting innocent scientists. This isn't right. Volar's scales rippled with conflict. If I intervene, I'll be branded a traitor. But if I don't, he trailed off, the weight of his decision hanging heavy in the air. Sarah reached out, her hand gently touching his arm. Sometimes doing the right thing means taking a stand, even when it's difficult. With a resigned nod, Voller activated his communication device. This is General Voller. I need to speak with the human extraction team immediately. As Harper's team skillfully navigated through the Wadi blockade, their shuttle shuddering under the strain of evasive maneuvers, the comm system crackled to life with Voller's message. Harper's eyes narrowed as he listened to the Wadi general's offer of assistance. It could be a trap, he mused aloud. Or it could be our best chance at completing this mission, countered his second-in-command. With the fate of two worlds hanging in the balance, Harper made his decision. Tell General Voller we accept his help, but we stay alert. One wrong move, and we abort. The extraction team's shuttle streaked through the Wadi atmosphere, a silent harbinger of the changes about to rock the foundations of both human and Wadi societies. As they approached the planet's surface, the true challenge of their mission loomed before them, navigating the complex web of Wadi politics, rescuing key personnel, and securing the data that could reshape the galaxy's understanding of interspecies relations. In the holding cell, Zaralith's head snapped up at the sound of approaching footsteps. Her scales flickered with a mix of fear and hope. Was this the end of her career, or the beginning of something far greater than she had ever imagined? The cell door slid open, revealing not her captors, but a familiar face that sent a wave of relief washing over her. "General Volar?" Zaralith whispered, her voice hoarse from disuse. Volar's eyes widened as he took in Zaralith's appearance. Her once smooth scales now shimmered with an iridescent quality, and her eyes, they seemed almost human-like in their depth and expressiveness. "We need to move now," Volar said, his voice low and urgent. He reached out a hand to help her up, then froze, noticing the slight tremor in his own fingers. "What's happened to you?" Zaralith stood, her movements unsteady. I'm not sure. Ever since I began working with human genetic material, I've been experiencing changes." Before Volar could respond, the sound of distant explosions echoed through the facility. Alarms blared, and the flickering of emergency lights cast an eerie glow in the corridor. "That'll be our diversion," Volar muttered, guiding Zaralith out of the cell. "We need to rendezvous with the human extraction team." As they navigated the maze-like corridors of the detention center, Zaralith's heightened senses picked up the acrid smell of smoke and the rapid footfalls of guards rushing to respond to the chaos. Her heart raced, pumping unfamiliar hormones through her body, further accelerating the changes she was experiencing. Meanwhile, in another part of the facility, Commander Jack Harper and his team fought their way through waves of Wadi security forces. The air crackled with energy weapon fire as they pushed forward, their movements precise and coordinated. "Commander," a voice crackled over Harper's comlink, "we've made contact with a group of young Wadi scientists. They're providing us with real-time intel on the facility's layout." Harper's lips curled into a grim smile. "Copy that. Let's hope their information is accurate. We can't afford any surprises." As if on cue, a section of the wall ahead of them slid open, revealing a hidden passage. A young Wadi scientist, her scales a vibrant mix of excitement and fear, stepped out. "Quickly," she hissed. "This way leads to the main research labs. Your Dr. Green is hiding there with the others." Harper nodded to his team, and they followed the Wadi scientist into the passage. As the wall slid shut behind them, Harper turned to their unexpected ally. "I'm Commander Harper, and you are?" "Lyravan," she replied, her eyes darting nervously. I want to help. Your research, it's too important to be destroyed, and I want to learn more about humans, about your physiology." Harper studied her for a moment, then nodded. "We'll discuss asylum later. For now, let's focus on getting everyone out alive." As they made their way through the hidden corridors, Lyravan explained the situation in hurried whispers. "General Kaxnor has implemented a planet-wide communications blackout. He's trying to control the narrative, but it's backfiring. More and more Wadi are questioning his actions." They emerged into a vast laboratory where Dr. Green and a group of young Wadi scientists huddled around a series of holographic displays. Green's face lit up with relief at the sight of Harper and his team. "Commander, thank the stars you're here. We've made incredible breakthroughs. The genetic compatibility between humans and Wadi, it's unprecedented. This could change everything." Harper held up a hand. "Save the details for later, Doctor. Right now, we need to get you and your research out of here." As Green and the Wadi scientists hurriedly copied their data onto portable devices, Harper received another transmission. "Commander, we've got a problem. General Kaxnor is personally leading a squad of elite soldiers to your location. ETA 3 minutes. Harper cursed under his breath. "Time to go, people. Move!" The group rushed out of the lab with Harper's team taking defensive positions. They made their way through the facility, the sounds of pursuit growing ever closer. As they rounded a corner, they almost collided with Volar and Zaralith. For a moment, both groups froze, weapons half raised. Then recognition dawned, and a collective sigh of relief echoed through the corridor. Harper's eyes widened as he took in Zaralith's altered appearance. "What in the—" "Later," Volar cut him off. "We need to get to your extraction point." The now combined group moved swiftly through the facility, guided by Lyravan's knowledge and the intel provided by the sympathetic, Wadi scientists. They were mere meters from their exit when a voice rang out, stopping them in their tracks. "That's far enough, traitors." General Kaxnor stood before them, flanked by a squad of heavily armed Wadi soldiers. His scales pulsed with a deep, angry red as his gaze swept over the group, lingering on Volar and the altered Zarlith. "You would betray your own kind for these primitives?" Kaxnor spat, his voice dripping with disgust. Volar stepped forward, his posture straight and proud. "We're not betraying anyone, Kaxnor. We're opening doors to a future where our species can coexist, maybe even thrive together." Kaxnor's eyes narrowed. "Coexist? Look at what they've done to Zarlith. They're corrupting us, changing us into something new," Zarlith interrupted, her voice steady despite her altered appearance. "Something that could bridge the gap between our species. This isn't corruption, Kaxnor. It's evolution." The tension in the corridor was palpable as both sides stood their ground, weapons at the ready. The fate of human-Wadi relations hung in the balance, with the slightest spark threatening to ignite an interstellar conflict. Harper's mind raced, searching for a way out that wouldn't end in bloodshed. He knew that any aggressive action now could have catastrophic consequences, not just for those present, but for both species as a whole. As the standoff continued, the distant sound of more explosions echoed through the facility. The extraction team's diversion was still ongoing, but time was running out. Harper knew they needed to act soon, or risk losing their window of escape. In that moment of tense silence, Lyravan stepped forward, her scales shifting through a kaleidoscope of colors. She looked from Kaxnor to Harper, then to Zarlith and Volar, her expression a mix of fear and commitment. "General Kaxnor," she said, her voice trembling slightly but growing stronger with each word. "I've seen the research. I've worked alongside these humans. What they offer isn't a threat to our way of life. It's an opportunity for growth, for understanding. We stand on the brink of a discovery that could reshape our understanding of life itself." Kaxnor's expression wavered, uncertainty creeping into his eyes. The squad of Wadi soldiers behind him shifted uneasily, their weapons lowering slightly as they looked to their leader for guidance. In that moment of hesitation, Harper saw their chance. He caught Volar's eye, a silent understanding passing between them. Whatever happened next would determine the course of human-Wadi relations for generations to come. "Come!" The air crackled with tension as both sides faced each other, weapons poised for action. Suddenly, a strange scent filled the air. Harper noticed it first, a sweet yet alien aroma that made his head swim. He blinked, trying to clear his vision as the Wadi soldiers in front of him swayed, their scales rippling in confusion. The source of the scent was unmistakable. Zarlith's body trembled, her altered form radiating waves of pheromones that affected both humans and Wadi alike. Her once familiar features had transformed further, taking on an uncanny blend of human and Wadi characteristics. Seizing the moment of disorientation, Harper barked out an order. "Now, stun grenades!" His team reacted instantly, tossing non-lethal grenades that exploded in a cacophony of light and sound. The corridor erupted into chaos as Wadi soldiers stumbled, their senses overwhelmed by the combination of Zarlith's pheromones and the disorienting effects of the grenades. Volar sprang into action, pushing past the dazed Kaxnor to reach Zarlith. "Come on," he urged, supporting her trembling form. "We need to move." As they rushed down the corridor, Harper's comm link crackled to life. Dr. Green's voice came through, breathless and urgent. "Commander, we've secured the data, but we're pinned down by loyalists near the south entrance." "Hold tight, Doctor," Harper replied, leading his team through the chaos. "We're on our way." They fought their way through the facility, the sound of alarms and distant explosions creating a backdrop of pandemonium. Zarlith's presence continued to cause confusion among the Wadi they encountered, many stopping in their tracks to stare at her altered form. Outside the facility, Dr. Green and Lyravan crouched behind a makeshift barricade, surrounded by the glow of holographic data streams. A group of Wadi loyalists pressed their attack, energy weapons scorching the air around them. Lyravan's eyes darted between the approaching enemies and the data transfer progress. "We need more time," she hissed, her scales flickering with stress. Dr. Green nodded, his face set with tenacity. He reached into his pack, pulling out a small device. "Wadi comm systems operate on a unique frequency, right?" At Lyravan's nod, he continued, "Let's see how they like a taste of their own technology." With a few quick adjustments, Dr. Green activated the device. A high-pitched whine filled the air, causing the attacking Wadi to clutch their heads in pain. Their coordinated assault fell into disarray, giving Green and Lyravan the opening they needed to complete the data transfer and make a break for it. As news of the extraction spread, the streets of the Wadi capital erupted into chaos. Young Wadi citizens, emboldened by rumors of Zaralith's research, took to the streets in protest. They carried signs with hastily scrawled slogans like "Embrace Change" and "Unity Through Science." General Caxnor, having regained his composure, found himself torn between pursuing the escaping humans and containing the growing civil unrest. He barked orders into his comm device, dividing his forces even as he led a team in pursuit of the extraction team. In orbit above the Wadi homeworld, Admiral Helena Zhao stood on the bridge of her flagship, hidden behind advanced stealth technology. Her eyes narrowed as she watched a fleet of Wadi warships approach their position. "Status report," she demanded. Her tactical officer responded, tension evident in his voice. "Wadi fleet approaching on an intercept course. They haven't detected us yet, but if they maintain their current trajectory..." Zhao's mind raced through the possibilities. Revealing their presence could deter the Wadi, potentially preventing a larger conflict, but it could also spark an immediate battle with unpredictable consequences for both species. Before she could make a decision, a priority transmission came through from Earth. The images that flashed across the screen caused a ripple of shocked murmurs throughout the bridge. Zaralith's transformed appearance was broadcast in high definition, her features an impossible blend of Wadi and human characteristics. "My God," Zhao breathed, the implications of what she was seeing sinking in. This changed everything. Back on the Wadi homeworld, Harper's team fought their way through the chaos-filled streets toward their hidden shuttle. Zaralith's presence continued to cause a stir, with some Wadi recoiling in shock while others reached out in fascination. As they approached the shuttle's location, they encountered an unexpected obstacle. A group of young Wadi civilians had gathered, drawn by the commotion and rumors of the escaping hybrid. They stood between the team and their means of escape, eyes wide with curiosity and excitement. Harper raised his hand, signaling his team to hold their fire. "We need to find a way through without hurting them," he said, his mind racing for a solution. Zaralith stepped forward, her altered voice carrying a strange harmony of human and Wadi tones. "Let me speak to them," she said, her eyes filled with a mix of tenacity and hope. As she addressed the young Wadi, explaining the importance of their mission and the potential for a new era of understanding between their species, the extraction team held their breath. The crowd listened, enraptured by Zaralith's words and appearance. Slowly, almost reverently, the young Wadi began to part, creating a path for the team to pass through. As they made their way to the shuttle, some of the youth reached out, gently touching Zaralith in a gesture that seemed part farewell, part blessing. Just as the team began to board the shuttle, the sound of approaching vehicles filled the air. General Caxnor had arrived with reinforcements, his face a mask of fury as he saw his quarry about to escape. In a move that surprised even himself, Voller stepped forward, his voice ringing out with authority. "Soldiers of the Wadi Defense Force," he called, his scales rippling with a mix of emotions. "I, General Voller, ask you to stand down. What we face today is not a threat, but an opportunity to grow, to learn, to evolve. Are we not a species dedicated to the pursuit of knowledge?" His words gave the Wadi soldiers pause, their weapons lowering slightly as uncertainty crept into their eyes. Caxnor sputtered in rage, but his hold over his troops was visibly weakening. Taking advantage of the moment, Harper ushered his team into the shuttle. The engines roared to life as they lifted off, leaving the confused Wadi forces and the cheering young civilians behind. But their escape was far from assured. As they broke through the planet's atmosphere, the shuttle's sensors blared a warning. Wadi fighter ships were scrambling to intercept them, their weapons charging as they gave chase. Harper's hands flew over the controls, pushing the shuttle to its limits as he weaved through the oncoming fire. "Hold on!" he shouted as the ship shuddered under the strain of evasive maneuvers. In the passenger compartment, Zaralith suddenly gasped, her eyes widening. The human pheromones in the enclosed space of the shuttle were affecting her in unexpected ways. She found herself sensing the emotions, the very thoughts of the human crew around her. "Commander," she called out, her voice trembling with the strain of her newfound abilities. "Bank left, now!" Without questioning, Harper followed her instruction, narrowly avoiding a barrage of Wadi energy weapons that streaked past their starboard side. As the space battle intensified, with the extraction team's shuttle dancing through a web of Wadi attacks, the future of human-Wadi relations hung in the balance. The success of their mission, the data they carried, and the living proof of interspecies compatibility embodied by Zaralith, all depended on their ability to outmaneuver their pursuers and reach the safety of the human stealth fleet. The shuttle bucked and weaved, alarms blaring as Harper pushed the engines beyond their limits. Zaralith's empathic insights proved invaluable, allowing them to anticipate and evade attacks with uncanny precision. But the Wadi ships were relentless, their superior numbers slowly closing the net around the fleeing shuttle. As energy blasts rocked the ship, the team held on, their faces set with unyielding commitment. The rendezvous point with the human fleet was still several minutes away, and every second brought new dangers. The shuttle streaked through space, carrying with it the hopes for a new understanding between humans and Wadi, its ultimate fate yet to be determined. The fate of their mission, and perhaps the future of human-Wadi relations, hung in the balance. Suddenly, the shuttle's communication system crackled to life. Admiral Helena Zhao's voice cut through the chaos, her tone urgent but controlled. "Commander Harper, this is Admiral Zhao. We're decloaking the fleet. Prepare for immediate assistance." Harper's eyes widened as he processed the implications. "Admiral, are you sure? That could escalate?" "It's already escalated, Commander," Zhao interrupted. "We're creating a diversion. Get your team to safety." As if on cue, the void of space lit up with the sudden appearance of the human stealth fleet. Massive warships shimmered into view, their weapons systems already engaging the surprised Wadi forces. The space around them erupted into a full-scale battle. Energy beams crisscrossed the darkness, and explosions bloomed like silent flowers. The Wadi ships, caught off guard by the sudden appearance of the human fleet, scrambled to regroup and return fire. Harper seized the opportunity, pushing the shuttle's engines to their limits. He weaved through the chaos, using the larger ships as cover. "Hold on!" he shouted as the shuttle shuddered under the strain. Zaralith gasped, her altered senses overwhelmed by the intensity of the battle. "There!" she pointed, her voice strained. "A planet. Atmosphere. Breathable." Dr. Green checked the shuttle's sensors, confirming Zaralith's assessment. "She's right. It's our best chance." Harper nodded, adjusting their course. As they approached the planet, a stray energy blast from the battle clipped their wing. Warning alarms blared as the shuttle began to lose altitude. "Brace for impact!" Harper called out, fighting the controls as they entered the planet's atmosphere. The shuttle shook violently, heat building around them as they plummeted towards the surface. With every ounce of skill he possessed, Harper managed to level their descent, aiming for a clearing in the dense jungle below. The shuttle hit the ground hard, skidding through the underbrush before coming to a stop in a tangle of alien vegetation. For a moment, silence reigned. Then slowly the team began to stir. Miraculously, there were no serious injuries, though everyone was shaken. As they emerged from the wreckage, Zaralith stumbled, her body seeming to pulse with an inner light. Her skin had taken on a soft, bioluminescent glow, casting ethereal patterns on the surrounding foliage. Dr. Green approached her, fascination overtaking his concern. "Extraordinary," he murmured, pulling out a small data pad that had survived the crash. "Your physiological changes are accelerating." Zaralith nodded, her eyes darting around the alien landscape. "I can sense things, life forms, dangers." She pointed to a cluster of plants. "Those are poisonous. and there's a predator about half a kilometer in that direction. Volar watched her with a mix of awe and unease. What's happening to her? Before Dr. Green could respond, their communication equipment emitted a burst of static. Harper frowned, adjusting the settings. Something's interfering with our signals. We're cut off. Lyravan, who had been examining their surroundings, called out, "Look, there's some kind of structure hidden in the vegetation." The team turned to see a massive, partially overgrown edifice looming in the distance. Its architecture was like nothing they had ever seen, all smooth curves and iridescent surfaces. "That's the source of the interference," Harper noted, checking his equipment. "Maybe we can use it to boost our signal." As they approached the structure, Zaralith's bioluminescence intensified. She reached out, her fingers barely brushing the smooth surface of the building. Suddenly, a hidden door slid open with a soft hiss. Inside, they found a vast chamber filled with technology that defied comprehension. Holographic displays flickered to life as they entered, bathing the room in a soft, pulsating light. Dr. Green and Lyravan immediately set to work, their scientific curiosity overcoming their caution. As they examined the alien interfaces, Zaralith let out a gasp. Her body began to resonate with the technology around them, causing the holograms to shift and change. "It's responding to her," Volar observed, his voice filled with wonder. The holograms coalesced into recognizable forms, star maps, DNA strands, and images of beings that looked neither human nor Wadi. Dr. Green's eyes widened as he began to decipher the information. This is incredible," he breathed. "These beings, they called themselves the precursors. They mastered interspecies genetic compatibility millennia ago." Lyravan nodded, her scales shimmering with excitement. "And look at this. They seeded both Earth and the Wadi homeworld with dormant genetic markers. Markers designed to activate upon contact between our species," Zaralith finished, her voice resonating with newfound understanding. Before they could fully process this revelation, the ground trembled. Harper rushed to the entrance, his face grim as he returned. "We've got company," he announced. "Both human and Wadi ships are entering the atmosphere. They must have detected the energy spike from this place." Volar's expression hardened with willpower. "We need to use this technology to send a message, to stop this war before it begins." As the team raced to decipher the alien interfaces, the sound of approaching ships grew louder. The fate of two species now rested in their hands, with the secrets of an ancient civilization as their only hope for peace. As the team raced to decipher the alien interfaces, Zaralith's body began to pulse with an intense ethereal light. Her skin shimmered, patterns of bioluminescence dancing across her hybrid form. She gasped, her eyes widening as a surge of information flooded her consciousness. I understand," she breathed, her voice a harmonic blend of human and Wadi tones. "This technology, it's not just a database. It's alive, evolving." Dr. Green and Lyravan exchanged glances, their scientific curiosity piqued. "What do you mean, Zaralith?" Dr. Green asked, his fingers hovering over a holographic display. Zaralith placed her hand on the console, and the entire chamber hummed in response. The holographic star maps coalesced into a detailed image of DNA strands, twisting and morphing before their eyes. "The precursors," she explained, her voice filled with awe. "They didn't just master interspecies compatibility. They created a method of accelerated evolution." Lyravan's scales rippled with excitement. "Accelerated evolution? That's beyond anything we've ever conceived." As they watched, the DNA strands in the hologram began to merge and separate, forming new patterns. Zaralith's body resonated with the display, her hybrid form a living example of the process they were witnessing. "Look at this," Dr. Green said, pointing to a series of markers on the DNA strands. "These dormant genetic markers, they're present in both human and Wadi DNA." Volar leaned in, his military training momentarily forgotten in the face of this revelation. "Are you saying we were designed to be compatible?" Before anyone could respond, Zaralith's body convulsed. She let out a gasp, her form glowing even brighter. The air around her shimmered, filled with an invisible but palpable energy. What's happening to her? Harper asked, concern etched on his face. Dr. Green scanned Zaralith with his datapad, his eyes widening at the results. Her transformation, it's reaching a critical point. The combination of human and Wadi DNA in this environment, it's activating something. Suddenly, the atmosphere in the chamber changed. A sweet, intoxicating scent filled the air. Harper felt a wave of calm wash over him, his earlier tension melting away. He glanced at Voller and saw the Wadi general's posture relax, his eyes softening. Pheromones, Lyravon said, her voice barely above a whisper. She's emitting powerful pheromones that affect both species. The realization hit Harper like a bolt of lightning. This could be the key, he said, his mind racing. If we could broadcast these pheromones to the approaching fleets, we could de-escalate the conflict, Voller finished, nodding in agreement. As if on cue, the ground trembled again, more violently this time. Harper rushed to the entrance, his face grim as he returned. The first wave of ships is entering the atmosphere, he reported. We're out of time. Dr. Green and Lyravon exchanged determined looks. We need to modify this technology to broadcast the pheromones, Dr. Green said, already turning back to the console. I'll help, Zaralith offered, her voice stronger now. My connection to this system, I can guide you. As the team worked feverishly to repurpose the ancient technology, Voller approached Harper. We need to buy them more time, he said, his military mind already formulating a plan. Harper nodded, trusting the Wadi general's expertise. What do you have in mind? Volar gestured to the holographic displays. These systems are far more advanced than anything we have. If we can create holographic decoys, we could confuse the incoming forces, Harper finished, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. The two officers set to work, their earlier animosity forgotten as they collaborated to protect their team. Soon, the skies above the jungle were filled with convincing holographic projections of ships and structures, drawing the attention of the approaching fleets. In the chamber, Dr. Green and Lyravon worked in perfect sync, their hands flying over the alien interfaces as they modified the broadcast systems. Zaralith stood at the center, her body serving as a conduit for the pheromones and the precursor technology. We're almost there, Dr. Green announced, sweat beading on his forehead. But the broadcast range is limited. We'll need to amplify the signal to reach all the ships. Harper looked at Zaralith, concern etched on his face. What will that do to you? Zaralith met his gaze, her eyes reflecting a mix of persistence and acceptance. I don't know, she admitted, but it's a risk we have to take. As the sounds of approaching ships grew louder, Harper made his decision. Do it, he ordered. Broadcast at maximum power. Dr. Green nodded, entering the final command sequence. The chamber hummed with energy, the air crackling with unseen force. Zaralith gasped, her body arching as she became the focal point of the broadcast. A pulse of energy erupted from the structure, spreading outward in an invisible wave. It washed over the jungle, enveloped the approaching ships, and continued to expand, reaching far beyond the planet's atmosphere. In the lead ships of the opposing fleets, General Kaxnor and Admiral Zhao felt the effects immediately. The burning desire for conflict melted away, replaced by a strange sense of calm and curiosity. Kaxnor blinked, shaking his head as if to clear it. He looked at the human ships on his view screen, but instead of seeing enemies, he found himself fascinated by their design, wondering about the beings inside. Aboard her flagship, Admiral Zhao experienced a similar shift. The Wadi vessels, once targets to be destroyed, now seem beautiful, their organic shapes a testament to an alien but no less valid form of engineering. Both leaders, acting on a newfound impulse they couldn't quite explain, reached for their communication controls at the same time. Their voices, free of hostility, rang out across the shared channel. This is General Kaxnor of the Wadi Defense Force. I wish to open a dialogue. Admiral Helena Zhao of the Human Fleet. I concur. Let's talk. As the pheromones continued to spread, affecting more of the human and Wadi forces, weapons powered down and communication channels buzzed with curious exchanges. The once imminent battle had transformed into something entirely unexpected. First contact redefined. Back in the precursor structure, the extraction team watched in amazement as reports flooded in from both fleets. Harper turned to Zarlith, who was slowly regaining her composure after the intense broadcast. "You did it," he said, a mixture of awe and gratitude in his voice. "You may have just prevented a war." Zarlith smiled, her hybrid features reflecting the hope that now filled the chamber. "We all did," she responded, looking around at the team. "And I think this is just the beginning." As the sounds of peaceful communication replaced the earlier tensions, the team began to realize the full implications of their discovery. They had not only prevented a conflict, but had also uncovered a technology that could reshape the future of human-Wadi relations, and perhaps the entire galaxy. With the immediate crisis averted, they turned their attention back to the precursor technology surrounding them. There was still much to learn, and the path ahead was uncertain. But as they stood together, human, Wadi, and hybrid, in the ancient chamber, one thing was clear: the universe had changed, and they were at the heart of that change. Change. The team's discovery had set in motion events that would reshape the galaxy in ways they could scarcely imagine. As the extraction team emerged from the ancient structure, they were met with a sight that defied their expectations. Instead of the anticipated clash between human and Wadi forces, they witnessed a scene of unprecedented cooperation. Ships from both fleets hovered side by side, their weapon systems powered down. The jungle clearing had become a hub of activity, with mixed crews disembarking and mingling freely. Harper's comm unit crackled to life, startling him. "Commander Harper, this is Admiral Zhao. Stand by for an important announcement." The team gathered around, tension palpable in the air. Admiral Zhao's voice rang out, clear and steady. "Attention all personnel. In light of recent developments, the United Earth Alliance and the Wadi High Command have agreed to an immediate ceasefire. We are dispatching high-ranking officials to your location to investigate the discovered structure and its implications." A chorus of cheers erupted from the assembled crews. Dr. Green turned to Lyravon, his eyes wide with excitement. "We did it," he breathed. "We actually stopped the war." Lyravon's scales shimmered with a mix of relief and anticipation. "This is only the beginning, David. We have so much more to learn about this technology." As the initial euphoria subsided, the team got to work. They established a temporary base camp near the precursor structure, coordinating with the arriving officials to secure the site. Dr. Green and Lyravon wasted no time, diving back into their research with renewed vigor. Days turned into weeks, and the jungle planet became a hive of scientific activity. The once hostile clearing now housed a sprawling research facility, its architecture a blend of human and Wadi design. Dr. Green and Lyravon worked tirelessly, their minds in perfect sync as they unraveled the mysteries of the precursor technology. One evening, as the twin moons cast an ethereal glow over the facility, Dr. Green burst into the main lab, his face flushed with excitement. "Lyravon, you need to see this!" The Wadi scientist slithered over, her eyes widening as she examined the data on Dr. Green's tablet. "Incredible," she whispered. "The pheromones. They're not just fostering attraction, they're enhancing cognitive functions, facilitating rapid language acquisition and cultural understanding." Their discovery spread like wildfire through the facility. Humans and Wadi alike found themselves picking up each other's languages with astonishing speed, cultural barriers crumbling in the wake of their newfound understanding. At the heart of this whirlwind of scientific advancement stood Zarlith. Her hybrid physiology had stabilized, revealing a form that was neither fully human nor Wadi, but something entirely new. She became the subject of intense study, her unique adaptability allowing her to thrive in environments that would challenge either of her parent species. As Zarlith underwent another round of tests, Dr. Green turned to Harper, his voice low with awe. "Commander, I believe we're witnessing the birth of a new species, one that combines the best traits of both humans and Wadi." Harper's brow furrowed as he contemplated the implications. That's going to change everything." News of the precursor discovery and its effects spread across the galaxy like a shockwave. The Galactic Council, initially dismissive of John Williams's presentation, found themselves forced to reconsider. A team of neutral observers arrived on the jungle planet, their expressions a mix of skepticism and wonder as they toured the facility. Back on Earth in the Wadi homeworld, the effects of the pheromone broadcast began to manifest in unexpected ways. Cultural exchange programs flourished, interspecies relationships blossomed, and a new era of cooperation seemed to dawn. However, not everyone embraced this rapid change. On Earth, conservative factions rallied against what they saw as a threat to human identity. Protests erupted in major cities, with signs declaring, "Keep humanity pure," and "No to alien influence." Similarly, on the Wadi homeworld, traditionalists fought against the tide of change. They saw the growing human influence as a corruption of their ancient ways, a dilution of the very essence of what it meant to be Wadi. Amidst this turmoil, General Kaxner emerged as an unexpected voice of reason. The once hardline Wadi commander, deeply affected by the harmony-inducing pheromones, had undergone a profound transformation. He addressed a gathering of Wadi military leaders, his voice ringing with conviction. "My fellow Wadi, I stand before you today a changed being. I once saw humans as our enemies, a threat to our way of life. But I now understand that we are more alike than different. The precursors did not design us to be separate, but to come together. We must embrace this new future, for it holds the key to our mutual survival and prosperity." His words, broadcast across both worlds, became a rallying cry for those who sought unity. General Kaxenor's transformation from a staunch traditionalist to a proponent of interspecies cooperation became a powerful symbol of the changing times. As the galaxy grappled with these unprecedented changes, Admiral Helena Zhao saw an opportunity. She initiated a joint human-Wadi space exploration program aimed at using the newly discovered precursor technology to push the boundaries of known space. "Imagine," she said, addressing a mixed crew of human and Wadi explorers, "what we could achieve together. With our combined knowledge and this new technology, we could unlock the secrets of the universe itself." The program quickly gained momentum, with ships crewed by both species venturing into uncharted regions of space. Their mission, to seek out other precursor sites and expand their understanding of the ancient civilization that had shaped their destinies. As more humans and Wadi were exposed to the harmony-inducing pheromones, reports of spontaneous genetic changes began to surface. Individuals on both worlds reported minor physiological alterations, from enhanced sensory perception to improved physical adaptability. Dr. Green and Liravan found themselves working around the clock to understand these changes. "It's as if the precursors' accelerated evolution technology is activating dormant genes in both our species," Liravan observed, her scales shimmering with excitement. The United Earth Alliance and Wadi High Command, now working in tandem, established a joint task force to manage the rapidly evolving situation. They focused on controlling the spread of the pheromones, concerned about potential unforeseen long-term effects on their respective populations. As the research continued, an unexpected pair arrived at the jungle planet. Sarah Williams and Voller, whose controversial marriage had initially sparked the crisis, stepped off their transport, hand in hand. They were greeted by a team of eager scientists led by Dr. Green. "Welcome," he said, unable to hide his enthusiasm. "Your relationship, it's a key to understanding how human-Wadi bonds can form naturally without the influence of the precursor technology. We have so much to learn from you both." Sarah smiled, squeezing Voller's hand. "We're happy to help in any way we can. After all, we're living proof that humans and Wadi can not only coexist but thrive together." As the couple was led away for their first round of interviews and tests, Harper watched them go, a thoughtful expression on his face. The galaxy was changing rapidly, and the path ahead was far from certain. But as he looked around at the bustling facility, at humans and Wadi working side by side, he felt a glimmer of hope for the future. The discovery of the precursor technology had opened doors they never knew existed. It had brought two species to the brink of war, only to forge an alliance stronger than anyone could have imagined. As night fell on the jungle planet, the facility hummed with activity, its occupants working tirelessly to unlock the secrets that would shape the future of both their species and perhaps the entire galaxy. Galaxy. The days that followed were a whirlwind of activity as the implications of the precursor discovery rippled across known space. On a small, verdant planet nestled in a neutral sector, construction crews worked tirelessly to establish the first official human Wadi colony. Named Harmony Prime, the settlement quickly became a symbol of the newfound cooperation between the two species. Dr. Green wiped sweat from his brow as he stepped out of the newly erected laboratory. The humid air of Harmony Prime clung to his skin, reminding him of the jungle planet where it all began. Lyravon slithered up beside him, her scales glistening in the alien sunlight. "David, you need to see this," she said, her voice tinged with excitement. "The latest results from Zaralith's genetic analysis are in." Inside the lab, holographic displays flickered to life, revealing intricate strands of DNA. Dr. Green's eyes widened as he absorbed the information before him. "This protein sequence, it's unlike anything I've ever seen," he murmured, tracing the hologram with his finger. "It's acting as a bridge between human and Wadi DNA." Lyravon nodded, her own excitement palpable. "It's not just bridging the gap, David. It's allowing for perfect compatibility. Do you realize what this means?" The implications hit Dr. Green like a thunderbolt. Natural reproduction between humans and Wadi? It's possible. As news of this discovery spread, it sent shockwaves through both human and Wadi societies. On Earth, Sarah Williams cradled her swollen belly, marveling at the life growing within her, a perfect blend of human and Wadi genes. She and Voller had become unwitting pioneers, their child among the first wave of naturally conceived hybrids. In the halls of the Galactic Council, the atmosphere was tense. Representatives from various species huddled in small groups, their voices hushed but urgent. John Williams stood before the assembly, his posture rigid as he addressed the growing concerns. "I understand your fears," he said, his voice echoing through the chamber. "But isolation is not the answer. Instead, I propose we create a galactic gene bank, a repository of genetic information from all known sentient species. This will ensure that no one is left behind as we step into this new era." The council chamber erupted into a cacophony of voices, some in support, others in vehement opposition. As the debate raged on, Williams couldn't help but feel the weight of the galaxy's future on his shoulders. Back on the Wadi homeworld, General Kaxnor's troops moved swiftly through the streets of the capital. The sound of energy weapons and shouts filled the air as they put down the coup attempt led by the traditionalist Krelix. In the aftermath, Kaxnor stood before a crowd of his people, his voice firm but compassionate. "We cannot fear change," he declared. "Our future lies in cooperation, not isolation. The path ahead may be uncertain, but we must face it together with our human allies." Light years away, Admiral Helena Zhao's exploration fleet hovered at the edge of known space. Before them loomed a massive structure, an ancient precursor outpost that dwarfed their ships. Inside the command center of the flagship, alarms blared as the outpost's defense systems sprang to life. "All ships, evasive maneuvers!" Zhao barked, her fingers flying over the control panel. "Get me Commander Harper on the line. We need his team here now." As the fleet dodged energy beams from the outpost, a small ship carrying Commander Harper and his specialist team dropped out of hyperspace. They wasted no time, docking with Zhao's flagship amid the chaos. Harper sprinted onto the bridge, his eyes quickly taking in the situation. "Admiral, we need to get a team inside that outpost. The key to shutting down the defenses will be in the central control room." Zhao nodded grimly. "Make it happen, Commander. We'll buy you as much time as we can." On Harmony Prime, Zaralith sat in a meditation chamber, her hybrid features serene despite the flurry of activity around her. As she focused, a wave of thoughts and emotions washed over her, not just her own, but those of the humans and Wadi nearby. Her eyes snapped open, a gasp escaping her lips. Dr. Green, who had been monitoring her brainwaves, leaned forward eagerly. "Zaralith, what did you experience?" She turned to him, her eyes wide with wonder. I could feel everyone, their thoughts, their emotions. It was like we were all connected." As reports of Zaralith's newfound telepathic abilities spread, questions about the true potential of human Wadi hybrids multiplied. The galaxy watched and waited, poised on the brink of a new era, one shaped by the legacy of the precursors and the unfolding story of two species learning to become one. In the depths of space, Commander Harper's team raced against time to unravel the secrets of the precursor outpost, their actions holding the potential to reshape the future of galactic civilization. The journey that had begun with a chance discovery in a jungle was nowhere near the end, its ultimate destination still shrouded in mystery. The galaxy held its breath as Commander Harper's team raced through the ancient precursor outpost, their footsteps echoing in corridors untouched for millennia. Back on Earth, the Galactic Council convened in an emergency session, the air thick with tension and anticipation. John Williams stood before the assembled representatives, his posture straight and his voice clear as he presented the finalized Galactic Charter of Sentient Rights. The chamber fell silent, all eyes fixed on the document that promised to reshape interstellar relations. "Honored representatives," Williams began, his words carrying the weight of countless years of struggle and discovery. "Before us lies a path to a future where all sentient beings, regardless of their origin or genetic makeup, are afforded equal rights and protections." As he outlined the Charter's principles, emphasizing the importance of genetic diversity and interspecies cooperation, a ripple of murmurs spread through the chamber. Some nodded in agreement, while others shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Suddenly, the council chamber erupted into chaos as alarms blared, their shrill cry cutting through Williams's speech. Holographic displays flickered to life, showing Admiral Helena Zhao's fleet engaged in a fierce battle around the precursor outpost. "We've triggered something," Zhao's voice crackled through the comms, her image distorted by static. "An energy surge. It's spreading across the galaxy." The council members watched in stunned silence as a wave of shimmering energy expanded outward from the outpost, engulfing planets and star systems in its wake. Reports flooded in from every corner of known space, describing bizarre phenomena and unexplained genetic mutations. On the precursor outpost, Commander Harper and Zaralith worked feverishly to decipher the ancient technology. Their fingers flew over alien control panels, translating symbols and analyzing data streams. "This isn't an attack," Harper realized, his eyes wide with wonder. "It's activation." Zaralith nodded, her hybrid features illuminated by the pulsing light of the outpost core. "The precursor's final gift to the galaxy. They're awakening our potential, all of us." As the energy wave swept across inhabited worlds, individuals of various species began experiencing rapid genetic changes. On Earth, Sarah Williams gasped as she felt a tingling sensation spread through her body. She watched in amazement as her skin took on a subtle, iridescent sheen, her features softening and reshaping into a harmonious blend of human and Wadi characteristics. Beside her, Voller underwent his own transformation. His scales became smoother, his limbs more flexible, adapting to better complement his human wife. Their eyes met, filled with wonder and love, as they realized they now embodied the future they had always dreamed of. In the Galactic Council chamber, the energy wave washed over the assembled representatives. Gasps and cries of surprise echoed through the room as deeply ingrained prejudices melted away, replaced by a profound sense of connection and understanding. The Zorblaxian ambassador, who had once sneered at the idea of human-Wadi relations, now looked at his fellow council members with new eyes. I can see the beauty in our differences," he whispered, his tentacles trembling with emotion. Zaralith, her telepathic abilities enhanced by the precursor energy, broadcast a message of unity across the galaxy. Her thoughts, infused with the harmonic frequencies of the ancient technology, resonated with beings of all species. "We are one," her mental voice echoed in the minds of countless individuals. "Our differences are our strength, our diversity, our greatest asset. Together we can achieve wonders beyond imagining." On Harmony Prime, Dr. Green and Lyravan worked tirelessly to analyze the data pouring in from across the galaxy. As they pieced together the puzzle of the precursor's plan, their eyes widened in realization. "It's not just about humans and Wadi," Lyravan exclaimed, her scales shimmering with excitement. "The precursors designed this for all sentient species. We're all part of a grand tapestry of life. Dr. Green nodded, a smile spreading across his face. The Human-Wadi alliance was just the beginning, the key that unlocked the door. Now, the entire galaxy can evolve together. As the energy wave subsided, leaving a changed galaxy in its wake, the Galactic Council reconvened. The atmosphere was markedly different from before, filled with a sense of possibility and hope. John Williams once again stood before the assembly, the Charter of Sentient Rights in his hands. This time, as he spoke of unity and cooperation, his words fell on eagerly receptive ears. Today, he declared, his voice ringing with conviction, we stand on the threshold of a new era, an era where the boundaries between species fade away, where we can learn from each other, grow together, and explore the cosmos as one united galactic community. The vote was unanimous, as the council members raised their hands, appendages or tentacles in agreement. A new chapter in galactic history began. The Charter of Sentient Rights was ratified, enshrining the principles of diversity, cooperation, and mutual respect into interstellar law. In the following days, a ceremony was held to honor those who had played key roles in the galactic transformation. Sarah Williams and Voller stood before the assembled representatives, their unique beauty a living testament to the power of love and acceptance. As Admiral Zhao and General Caxnor unveiled plans for a new galactic exploration initiative, the excitement in the air was palpable. Ships from various species prepared to embark on a joint mission to uncover more precursor sites and unlock the full potential of their legacy. Dr. Green, Lyravon, and Zaralith joined the mission's scientific team, eager to continue their groundbreaking research. As they boarded the lead ship, they exchanged glances filled with anticipation and wonder. The galaxy, once divided by fear and prejudice, now looked to the future with hope and excitement. As the exploration fleet prepared to depart, beings of all species came together to witness the launch, their hearts filled with the promise of a shared destiny among the stars.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel. And for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.